If you think progressive overload means adding weight every week, you are already sabotaging your gains. Most people are stuck, they get injured, they're not progressing because they're following the wrong idea. They chase heavier weights, they drop their reps very low, they destroy form and end up with sore joints instead of muscle. After 40 years in bodybuilding, I can tell you that progressive overload, as you have been taught, is a lie. Today, I'm going to show you what actually builds muscle and why adding weight too soon can actually destroy your progress. I'm Dr. Nash Jocic, former bodybuilding champion. I have been in bodybuilding for over 40 years. I have competed 46 times and won 17 titles. In the meantime, I also trained over 3,500 clients and helped them to get in the best shape of their lives. For you, I have also published 11 ebooks which are fully loaded with everything you always wanted to know about bodybuilding. Muscle growth, fat loss, training splits, number of sets, number of reps, nutrition, lifestyle change, and much, much more. So if you want to expand your knowledge, if you want to finally start growing and losing body fat, simply click on the link below in the comments and you can access my ebooks. The common misconception is that you have to try to add weight to your bar almost every week, that you need to constantly increase the weight because you believe that lifting heavier weights is going to make bigger muscles. But this is not true. If you start adding weights every week, believing that you're following the right overload principle, you are simply ruining the form, lifting too heavy, so you have to drop down to 2, 3, or 4 reps, which are not going to build muscle, and also your form will deteriorate. So this is not a progressive overload. This is simply ego lifting disguised as science. True hypertrophy, meaning building of new contractile proteins, muscle fibers, does not happen because you're lifting heavier weights. It means something much more than that. It means constant tension during the perfect form of execution and enough intensity. I have explained about real intensity, what it is in my previous videos. And you have to repeat it enough so your muscle will be forced to adapt. That doesn't mean that you have to add more weights every week. When somebody says, I must lift heavier in order to grow, they're actually missing the whole actual mechanism. So growth is triggered by mechanical tension, sustained, not random, maximal force attempts. What usually happens is that your reps have to drop down when you increase the weight. So if your reps drop down to 2 to 3 reps per set, and if your technique breaks, you are simply shortening your range of motion. You're not having any progress. You are regressing. And but that way, you're training your ego and not your muscle. There are 4 reasons why that model of lift heavier every week simply fails. So number 1 reason is tension is lost. So when you do perform your set in recommended 8 reps, you are causing enough tension. If every rep is anywhere from 3 to 4 seconds, for example, for upper body muscle, you're creating enough tension that you will cause muscle growth. Now, if you start adding weight every week, that will drop down. The reps are not going to be 8 anymore. You're going to go down to 2, 3, or 4 reps. And this is simply not enough for optimal muscle growth. You're not going to cause hypertrophy by performing a set which is only like 5, 6, 10 seconds. You need longer time under tension. And again, explained in a video which I dedicated especially to time under tension. Number 2 reason why this model fails is that your joints, your connective tissues, they weaken faster than the muscle strengthens. As I explained in previous videos, again, you can recover the muscle within 48 to 72 hours, but it doesn't mean that you have recovered the whole unit, because when you are training particular muscle, let's say shoulders, you're not only training shoulder muscles, you're training the whole unit, which is made of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and cartilages. So the whole unit needs to recover before you are able to go again and perform with 100% focus and intensity. That requires full recovery of the whole unit. So if you start adding weights every week, you will simply ignore these facts and you will be stressing your connective tissues and your joints more than your muscles. Number 3 reason why this model fails is that fatigue accumulates much faster than strength gains. So if you keep constantly attempting to lift heavier, you are going to be stressing your central nervous system. As I explained again in the previous videos, you need more time for central nervous system. So if you cannot just force heavier weights, when you get able to perform more than recommended number of reps, for example, if that is 8 for upper body muscles, if you are able to perform with the same weight, maybe 12 or 15 reps, now is clearly the time, this is the signal that you slightly increase the weight, maybe by 5%, and then you continue with the same training principle. This is the only way that you can overload properly. The 4th reason why this model fails is that you simply sacrifice a perfection of reps. So your form is going to deteriorate, because every time I've seen somebody who is constantly trying to lift heavier, their form is deteriorating. They're trying to lift the weight, but they're not focusing on the muscle. So instead of using perfect form in stimulating muscle hypertrophy, they are using their muscles and their joints as means to achieve the end, which is lifting heavier weight. Weight, as I've said so many times, is neither light or is neither heavy. The weight can only be right, meaning the weight that you use should be right. So you can perform necessary number of reps, let's say 8 to 12 for upper body muscles, and enough number of sets so that you have that volume which is necessary to create that sarcoplasmic growth, which is main growth in bodybuilding. So again, by chasing heavier weights with this wrongly understood overload principle, you will simply sacrifice the perfect form, which will take you nowhere, most likely into injuries. Let me tell you a few words about the reality of hypertrophy. So let us be clear. First of all, strength means that your nervous system is learning to fire harder in order to move a heavier object. This is strength. Now, when it comes to hypertrophy, things are different. Your muscle fiber physically enlarge because of mechanical tension plus volume plus proximity to failure. So these are completely two different scenarios. So if you're after strength, just after strength, if you're a power lifter, weightlifter, I'm not interested in that. I don't talk about it in my videos on my channel. I'm only interested in muscle hypertrophy and fat loss. Now, hypertrophy is something different. Obviously, you need mechanical tension, you need volume, and you also need that proximity to failures. You don't have to go to failure. You don't need to go to that last rep, as I explained again so many times already. So if you want to grow your muscles, you must, first of all, stay 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. Benefits are enormous. Safety is 100%. And the progress is simply inevitable. It has been proven throughout the history of bodybuilding. Just look at golden era bodybuilders and you will see people like Arnold, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Frank Zane, and many others who actually train that way. They never went all out to failure. This is why in those days nobody had biceps tears, chest tears, quad tears, and similar devastating injuries, because they were much more intelligent than this modern army of bodybuilders, which are training mainly their egos and fighting their demons by performing all out and chasing heavier weights all the time. Also, number 2, you need to keep that perfect tension and tempo. Muscle has to be trained in a certain way, meaning if the set lasts 40 seconds, that means 40 seconds of non-stop tension. You can't just use some sloppy form, momentum in order just to lift the weight. The weight doesn't matter. What matters is the tension and the time. So you have to control the weights, you have to use perfect form and achieve that necessary tension throughout the set. Also, number 3 is you need to accumulate enough stimulating reps. So what are stimulating reps? Stimulating reps can also be called quality reps. So these reps are anywhere from 5 to 6 before failure. So not every rep you do, but those last 5 to 6. So if you perform 12 reps, last 5 to 6 before failure will be quality reps. So if you don't go to failure, let's say you're 1 rep shy of failure, instead of 6, you're going to have 5 quality reps. But what is important to understand is that if you don't go to failure, you can do more sets. So that 5 quality reps per set times, let's say, 20 sets per muscle equals 100 quality reps. Now, if you go to failure, you will achieve 6 quality reps, but you won't be able to do 20 sets. So you will be able to do maybe 10 sets, and you will end up with 60 quality reps instead of 100 quality reps in the previous scenario. So you understand now why is this so important, to not to go to failure, but to be shy of failure 1 to 2 reps, because it will allow you to do more sets. So at the end of your session, these 20 sets will turn into 100 quality reps, which is much more superior and much, much, much more safer than doing to failure 10 sets. So let me explain to you how overload principle should really be in reality in order to be fully productive and safe. So let me tell you a few words about the real progressive overload and how that should be executed in order to be very productive and extremely safe. So before adding weights, you must first hit that prescribed number of reps. Let's say if it's that 8 to 12, you have to be able to hit 12. Then you have to wait till you start moving the same weight in perfect form, 14, 15 reps. That will signal you that you can add more weight. So this is the first thing that you have to achieve before you move to new weights. Number 2, with perfect form, you have to execute every rep in every set. So you cannot just chase these extra few reps. You cannot just chase 15 reps with any form in order to be able to increase the weight. No, every set has to be done in perfect form. When your body is ready, when your muscle has grown enough, and now your muscle can perform the same exercise with the same weight, but with more reps, this is in perfect form. This is when you increase your weight. Number 3, with control, you have to pay attention to tension again. So when I just say control, that doesn't mean much unless you are really having that tension non-stop, exposing the muscle to effort. So you have to have that clean execution. And number 4, you should always stay 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. So if you apply all these 4 principles, then you will be able to add extra weight for the most progressive way of training and also to stay safe. Let me just repeat again. The target number of reps for upper body muscles is between 8 to 12. For quads is 12 to 20. So the moment you are able to perform more reps than 12 for the upper body muscles, you should add new weight. When it comes to legs, the moment you can perform your squats or your leg press or hack squats over 20 reps, then you are able to add extra weight. Add just 5%, and again continue with the process until you again get to the point that you can do more reps with a new weight, over 20, for example, for legs, for quads. And in that scenario, you can again add new weight. Another golden rule is that for upper body muscles, you should never be below 8 reps. So that 8 reps is the minimum number of reps, which implicates muscle hypertrophy and safety. So you get the most from your training, you cause hypertrophy, but you're also very safe. So injuries are absolutely not an option. The golden rule is not to drop under 8 reps for upper body muscles. If you drop under 8 reps, few things will happen. First, you shorten the time under tension. So this is not good. The tension will not last enough. So you will not cause hypertrophy. Second, your central nervous system stress increases disproportionately. Obviously, you're making more effort to lift heavier, but for no avail. Your time under tension is now too short. Third, your injury risk increases dramatically. So when you are into that rep range, which is perfect for upper body muscles, 8 to 12, you are causing hypertrophy, but you are safe. Now, if you start using heavier weights and start doing lower reps, you will be increasing the risk of injuries. Fourth, you will compromise form. Once you drop under 8, your form is going out of the window. And fifth, which is all of this included, you will lose stimulus for growth. So you don't want to drop under that 8 reps for upper body muscles. When it comes to lower body muscles, especially for quads, you don't want to drop under 12 because the same things will happen. So the set in which you hit 10 or 11 reps, this is going to be your last set, and this is when you finish your workout. But to use heavier weights in order to perform 5 or 6 reps, this is not good enough. It's dangerous and is not productive. When it comes to failure, let me tell you the truth, right? There are a lot of people who say, if I don't go to failure, I'm just not going to grow. And a lot of people are simply hypnotized with this heavy-duty training method in which you have to go to failure, and even beyond failure. But doing that, you're just overstressing your central nervous system and you're dramatically increasing the risk of injuries. This principle is absolutely false. So failure is simply the point when you cannot longer maintain tension. This is why we should stop 1 to 2 reps before failure. And this is because in that range, rep range, which is 1 to 2 reps before failure, this is when 90% of growth happens. So this is where you want to be without destroying recovery or joints. So you don't want to push for 100% of hypertrophy, risking injury, risking stress, risking burning your central nervous system to the ground, because those 10% are not worth the risk. So always think with good economy. You want the most of the benefits, but the least of the risks. So benefit-risk ratio should go always towards benefit. If you train every set to failure, every session, these things happen. First, your central nervous system collapses because you're training so intensely that you obviously overstressing your central nervous system. Your sleep worsens because your central nervous system is destroyed. You're going to sleep poorly, and that means you're not going to be producing enough growth hormone during the night. Because of that, you're not going to be recovering or rejuvenating your tissues, muscles, and other organs. And also, you will not burn body fat because in the lack of growth hormone, you will burn much less body fat during the sleep. Also, your progress slows. You lose your appetite, which is clearly a very, very bad thing. Your joints, they flare. So you're going to start feeling everything, your joints aching, your elbows, shoulders, most likely knees. And your motivation dies. So this is what reps to failure will do to you, inevitably. I've done it when I didn't know everything that I'm telling you now. I suffered from all these side effects. Thousands of people that I've seen suffered from the same consequences because of that false belief that you have to go to failure in every set. So I hope I have explained to you how real overload principle should be executed in order to create the highest possible hypertrophy and also allow you to be 100% safe. So in order to achieve that, your job in the gym is to perform every rep in perfect form. Also, you have to maintain control and tension. That's very important. Tension is the key. Mechanical tension is what builds muscles. Number 3 thing that you should do is stop before your form breaks, meaning don't go to failure. Stop 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. You need to accumulate enough high stimulus reps. Again, I explained it to you. And that means that if you don't go to failure, you will do 5 instead of 6 quality reps per set, but you will be able to do much more sets, and you will end up that session with high number of high quality, high stimulus reps. You should return to your next training session fully motivated and fully recovered. So your central nervous system should be fully recovered. Your joints, your muscles, everything, the whole unit, the whole body, the whole system should be fully ready before you hit that muscle again. And this is why I recommend that every muscle should be trained once per week. I believe that I have delivered the message to you, and this is that we have reframed the whole idea of overload principle. And the real overload principle, the one which will offer you maximum hypertrophy with minimum risk, should not be the constant war of heavier weights. So that obsession of lifting heavier in every exercise every week, and that's the only way of progress, is absolute nonsense, is insane. So you need to follow the principles that I have explained to you in order to grow and stay safe. So let me remind you once again that I have published 11 ebooks for you, ebooks which are fully loaded with detailed explanation about everything that you always wanted to know about bodybuilding. And if you want them, you simply click the link in the comments and you can access my ebooks. I would also like you to watch this video in which I introduce my other services. So if this video resonated with you, and if you want a personalized training program in which I can help you create the best training program for yourself, for your fitness level, your age, and your goals, then again, watch this video in which I offer this particular service, but also other services like personalized nutritional programs, telephone consultations, online coaching, and personal training for people who live in London. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, send me your comments, and until the next video, I wish you all the best.